The solitary pink line mocked Hannah Jamieson as she sat on her bathroom floor, her free arm wrapped around her middle. She blinked away the tears that filled her eyes, though it was beyond pointless. They fell anyway, leaving salty lines down her cheeks. She'd have to clean her face again and put on makeup to cover the blotchiness. With practice, she was getting better at hiding the evidence of her tears, her failure. Another month, another failure. She wasn't pregnant. Again. Hannah looked down at the offending evidence of her inadequacy, then threw it across the room. It hit the wall with a pang that didn't ease the tremors within her. Anger coursed through her veins, and she cursed. Anger at the goddess for not blessing her with a baby of her own. Anger at the other Jamieson women who could have a baby with only a thought. And in her newest sister-in-law Bay's case, an afterthought. Anger at herself for not being able to have a child, and for disappointing her husbands, her mates. Josh and Reed were the loves of her life, and every time that little plastic stick revealed there would be no baby, she felt as though she'd lost, that she wasn't worthy. Though they never looked down on her for her failure, she could never be sure what they were thinking. Their mating bond didn't allow that. Hannah slowly unwound from her fetal position, stood, and picked up the pregnancy test. She didn't need to show this one to the guys. She hadn't shown the previous two to them either. They would know the moment they looked at her. They always knew. Reed and Josh knew her in every way possible. They knew her facial expressions, her body movements, her moods. Everything. No, she didn't need to show them the stick. They would know the moment she tried to put on her not-so-brave face and said it would be okay. Because it wouldn't. Not when she was one woman with two men. Of all the Jamieson women, the wives and mates of the Jamieson brothers, she should have been the pregnant one. She had the best odds. But apparently, math wasn't in her favor. She wrapped up the stick and stuck it in the bottom of the trash. It wasn't the best hiding place, but it really didn't matter anymore. Hannah turned to the sink and ran the tap. She scooped some water in her hands to wet her parched throat, and then washed her face again. She gripped the sides of the pedestal sink that Josh had installed for her the month prior and tried to compose herself. So what if she wasn't pregnant? That didn't mean she wouldn't ever get pregnant. She placed a shaky hand on her stomach and bit her lip. She wanted a baby more than anything, and the fact that the goddess hadn't blessed her with one yet gnawed at her. Right after their wedding, they'd thought they'd had a chance. When that chance was lost in a moment of pain and panic, Josh and Reed had held her and tried to console her, all the while feeling the incredible loss. But time had passed, and they were ready. Why wasn't it happening for them? Hannah finger-combed her chestnut corkscrew curls away from her face and let out a deep breath. Some days, she just wanted to chop off the long locks that trailed to the middle of her back. But she knew Josh and Reed loved her hair long and wild. Anything for her men. God, she loved them. She'd met the both of them in one of the worst situations possible. She'd been kidnapped from her home and potion store, forced to watch the attackers kill her mother, and then she'd been stuffed in a dark basement and chained to the wall. She'd met Reed there and had fallen for him, even when they both were certain they would die. The Centrals had taken Reed from his home when he sacrificed himself to save his sister-in-law Willow. Though they had been chained just far enough apart that they couldn't touch, Reed's wolf had tried to take care of her, and the healer within herself had wanted to do the same for him. Josh had been a human finder, someone who could close their eyes and find anyone in the world once he saw their face. He had only heard her and Reed's names and had been able to find them. Though their mating may have been taboo to some, their triad was strong and held more magic than most.